Well, I'm delighted to say that we've got the highest ranking officer that we've had on the Forces Sport podcast because we've got Lieutenant Colonel Laura Ellis. You are the coach of Army Netball, but not just that, you've got a new project underway, which is the men's and the mixed netball. So tell us a little bit about that.
That's right. So we obviously started the men back end of last year, September last year, and that's been really successful all season. We've had some great games. And then this year we're taking a mixed team and a ladies team on an overseas visit at the end of the year. And in preparation for that, we're going to go to the national competition in August, and we've got a few friendlies before that.
Of all the places to start, the military is not an obvious place. I would have thought that men's netball would be taking off, but that's not the case. It's really popular now.
Yeah, it's been pretty exponential from when it started in September last year to where we are now.
You've got to have a real passion. I know you're involved with many sports, and we'll move on to those as well, but if we concentrate on netball at the moment, you've got to have a real passion to play in the military, to then go into coaching and go into the management side that you're in now, to then build onto your workload, or to create a mixed team and a men's team as well. Is that what it is? Your passion for netball, your love for the game, and just your wanting to push it forward in whatever way you can?
Yeah, 100%. That's what it is. Netball has always been my passion. I do play a number of sports, but netball has always been my number one sport.
I remember watching you banging in the goals for the Army in many an inter-services tournament. So to go from that to coaching, was that an obvious step for you to retire from playing and then pick up the coaching mantle?
So I've been coaching for my civvy team for a number of years, so I play a coach for them. So it's been a kind of smoothish transition into that role.
But what was the appeal to start up a men's team in the Army?
The volume was there, the need was there. We had our inter-mixed unit competition last year. We had over 50 men, and why would we not?
But where does the love come from? Does it come from being a youngster playing netball as well and sort of just growing up in the game?
So yeah, I played at school. I got selected for county trials. I played county netball all the way through school, and then I joined the Army at 16 and kept going.
It's quite young to start. That's quite young to. But did you think when I joined the Army at 16, I'll still be able to play netball?
No, not at all. I just thought that was it. I'll just concentrate on being in the Army. But eventually, I found netball in the Army.
So how long did that take from joining up and think, because you do your phase 1, phase 2 training, how long did the...
So I didn't start playing netball for about 6 years after I joined.
So it's quite a gulf in time, but in that period you'd kept yourself fit, obviously for being a soldier.
Yeah.
But keeping yourself netball fit?
No.
So was it a real sort of, bump of reality when you went for the trials?
So it was. I went for the trials and I didn't get in the first year, like a number of people don't, because we haven't been playing club netball. I was told to go away, play club netball and come back the next year, which is what I did, and got in the next year.
And you've obviously made it up to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. Explain to those people who aren't involved in the military, if you joined up at 16, that's the furthest you can go. You've done, 13 different ranks? Is that how it works?
So I joined slightly different. I joined as a soldier at 16 as an apprentice tradesman. I did 5 years in the ranks as a soldier in the REME, and then I went to Sandhurst to commission. So I commissioned in 2000.
And how does that sort of shape your life? Like netball obviously is shaping your life in one way. The military basically does shape your life. Is it something that you're thankful for every day?
Every single day that I'm in uniform that I get to play netball or any sport, I'm thankful.
The thing with the sports that we cover is that it needs somebody to drive it, and with netball you seem to bring an energy with you that's taking the sport to new places. I'm thinking of the men's team. I'm thinking of one of your players who's received an England call-up. So tell us about that.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic news. I was so pleased for him. He showed obviously natural talent when we started in September, and he's just grown and grown and grown.
It's Dave. Just call me Dave. So who's the young soldier that's?
Yeah. So Lance Bombardier, Dave Sanaki from 3-2 Regiment Royal Artillery down in Larkhill. He has, as I said, been exponential in his growth in the sport, but that's not just because of the passion that he's got on the court. It's everything he does off the court. He's put so much work in the gym to keep himself physically fit. But he also has been to his local league, and he's been volunteering at the local league to do scoring and just watching netball as much as he can, just to immerse himself in it to understand the game. Because whilst he's got the natural talent, the attributes to be a great netballer, it's not having the experience behind him is where he's put that work in himself.
he might be the trailblazer, he might be the first, but I know with your astute eye on you that you'll have seen that there are plenty of others that could follow.
There are definitely others that can follow. Yes, I am very sure of that.
So where do you see the men's game going in the military? There's no inter-services for the men yet.
Not yet, no. I think the next step will be a mixed inter-services and then a men, just because of the volume of men that the other two services have or don't have compared to us. So it'll be baby steps, but the aspiration is that we will get there.
Does the game, I'm a netballer, recreational, very bog standard, but it's a nice run around on a Monday night. So I don't think I can even call myself a netballer.
That's just what it says on your tag. Very bog standard, can run around on a Monday night. Just nothing about netball.
That's why they get me in. Yeah, run around, don't catch the ball. But you know, there are some sports that the rules change depending on when you've got a men's team and a women's team. I have played a bit of mixed netball as well. There's the rules of you know, just having one man in each third. But tell us, as a netballer, does the men's game differ at all? The way you're coaching it, or what you're seeing of it? Is it? I mean, I sort of feel there are attributes that some men have that maybe you have to jump higher and stuff like that. But does it really change that much to watch?
It does change. It doesn't change that much. It's still netball. All the rules are still the same. But you just have to change, adapt the way that you play. So if men are playing against women, it's like a full men's team versus a full ladies team. The ladies team have to adapt because of that elevation that they can get. And because of the strength that they have. So you just have to be smarter and change the way that you play. Not drastically, but just a slight tweak. And when you play mixed, so mixed on mixed, again, it depends on where you use those men. If you use them, because as you said, you can only have one in each third. It depends on where you use the strength. So it's very much more tactical playing mixed, coaching mixed, than it is coaching ladies, because most ladies, there's obviously some who are very extreme, but most ladies are kind of very similar than the person that they were on court together. But when you've got men and mixed, it can be, the height difference can be quite vast.
I was going to say, do you love that challenge? I'm just watching the mixed teams playing today, and the sort of the speed on the ball of the men, just being like just that slightly extra elevation. I imagine you're sitting there sideline because this is amazing.
It's great. Yeah, it really is good. And there's so much potential in that group. And there's a few other people who unfortunately can't be here because they're on operations. But the group that we have, there's about 30 men who have committed and have been to at least one session this year. There's two who are here three who are here for their first time today. And there's some really great potential. I'm very excited.
Well, I know we've been bigging up the boys, but many of the women have also excelled. And in recent years, the Army have been blessed to have a number of internationals. I'm thinking of Dee Bolokoro with Fiji and Fern Davis, who's now left the Army, but represented Wales as well. So you being around those players, they must bring something to the overall, not just the Army netball setup, but the military as well.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got just picked up another England mixed ladies player who's still in training at the moment. So when she finishes training, she'll be coming.
That big arm of yours will drag her in.
Yes, and so we obviously can't have them when they're in phase 2 training, but as soon as she's finished, then she'll be joining the squad. Dee,
of course, has been playing Super League. So what's it like having that standard of player in the setup for a coach?
It's great having that standard of player. It is slightly hard for the player to adjust to the levels that we're playing at. So from Dee playing a Super League on a Monday night and then coming and playing it mixed into unit on Wednesday, that gulf of the difference of standard of play is, you've just got to be able to adapt, which she does, excellently. As does Dave. Dave was training with the Knights and then coming to play mixed into units. The gulf is very big, but you just have to be able to adapt to that level of play.
And what are your feelers like in terms of getting, in this case, Dave and also the link ups, because we see so much netball now on TV. The Commonwealth Games has done it the world of good in terms of the women's game and stuff like that. You as a manager and sort of an ex-player in that sense, what are your feelers like? Because we know that the military sort of like to have fingers in all pies, but do you enjoy that side of it, the sort of making sure that Dave's got the contacts and creating those pathways for people to go into those? Yeah,
it's really good. We're really thankful for the people in those kind of areas. So we've obviously got the Knights who are where Dave trains, and they were the first team that the men never played. And And since then we've just had such a great connection. They've always been really supportive. We went and watched them play, as in the Army men went and watched them play when they played in a tournament with the ladies. And it's just a really great connection. And for them for the Army men to see what good looks like for them for that level was really good.
And you forged a strong relationship with England women's netball as well. I know that Tracy Neville has been down and done stuff either with UCAF or with the Army. So how does that relationship help military netball?
So it's kind of a quid pro quo. We help with recruiting, and so recruiting from the female kind of cohort. So we do some work for them, and obviously they bring their expertise to our training sessions to help. So yeah, it's really good.
I just wonder for you as a coach, the buzz you get when you see somebody that's got it, and you can see that person's going to go far. What sort of, we've spoken about the sporting tingle before. That was more to do with stadium, but when you identify talent, where does that leave you as the coach?
Start smiling with my notebook.
Big gold star.
Big tick, Fiji. This will go, yeah.
Well, it's going to be in the limelight this year. I'm thinking Commonwealth Games for netball. So what are your hopes and expectations? Do you think that there may be people that will look at that and perhaps think of a career in the military?
Yeah, I hope so, because you can have a career alongside your netball and sporting career in the military, which most of the Army girls have already shown, and obviously the men as well. So we can definitely do both. We must
put a question mark around Dee Bolokoro's selection for Fiji at the moment. I know that they wanted her to be involved back in Fiji, but when you're British soldier first, there's a balance to be made. So is she on standby for them at the moment if they need her?
Yeah, that's my understanding, yes.
Moving away from netball, if you don't mind.
Of course.
Only because I know that's largely the number one sport, and you've got no problem with saying that. But to me, you sort of epitomise an Army personnel, because you've taken advantage of everything the Army have given to you. You've risen up the ranks. But in sports, you've gone, I like that sport, I like that sport. So tell us a little bit about what other sports you do and the advantage, the opportunities.
Yeah, they're not all obvious bedfellows.
No.
So I've always swam. That's from a young age I swam. And when I got into the Army, I started playing water polo, which is, you can think if you're a swimmer and you play netball, there is definitely a connection there.
I can see that now.
But the other one?
Yes. So
it's frozen water.
The other one is ice hockey. I'm a goaltender at ice hockey. But that's come across because I spent 2 years in Canada. I was the AC workshop of Battus workshop. And there is not much else to do in the winter there. So playing ice hockey is it.
And the position that you ended up playing?
I'm in the net. I'm a goaltender.
So why did you decide on, when the puck is coming right at you, why did you decide on that position?
So a mixture of two things. One, my team needed a goalie and no one else wanted to do it. And the second was I wasn't very good at skating.
Well, that answers that rather succinctly. That's why we ended up on the podcast, because nobody else wanted to do it. So that's why we're doing it.
But they're quite Army sports, though, aren't they? Like I say, the Army just gives you so many opportunities to do that, and the support that they give you to do the most random sports. And I think that's the most crucial thing, is the being based out in Canada. Like, you wouldn't have played ice hockey probably and that's just given you that sort of opportunity as well. But how much time do you have for them away from netball?
So this last season when I've been coaching the three teams, not very much. But previously when I was just playing, I was able to play at the inter-services for the Army at water polo, and we also got selected for the combined services team as well, so that was fun. And then ice hockey I play for the REME, and because as a goaltender, not every corps has got a goaltender, so I play for a few other corps just whenever they need me. Pretty much. Yeah.
We've spoken of Dave and we've spoken of Dee. Can you see another military netballer, maybe from the Army, maybe from one of the other two services, perhaps going on to represent their country? 100%.
There's definitely at least another female who I've got my eye on who has potential to get to where and beyond Dee has been.
And because of this is awkward, but because of your rank, are you able to support that individual with perhaps their CEO and say, look, this person really has the ingredients to go on, and it would be fantastic if they could?
100%. It's not just myself. We've got Colonel Andrew as well, and we speak to their chain of command and working out what their time frame is and where they're looking at in their career now and in the future. So those early conversations have started now.
With your energy and your enthusiasm, it seems to be a really good place to be involved. Forces netball setup, this Army netball setup, seems to be going places.
Yeah, it's good. It's a really great place to be. This next season we've got going to get 2 new coaches in for the Army, for the Open and for the Dev, and I'll coach the men. That is the plan.
Are we allowed to look into the future? Because I know you've got some exciting things coming up.
Yes.
What is coming up?
So the next big thing is the Nationals. So we're taking a mixed and a men's team to the Nationals. So for the first time, we've never been at that competition before, so that's going to be excellent.
Is it because the women's game is so big that you haven't gone there as a women's team before?
So it's not. It's mixed and men.
It's only a mixed and men's.
Yes.
Okay, competition. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And yeah, you're hoping. Have we talked about the tour?
No, that was the other exciting
So
thing.
in preparation for the tour, so we had US Open Netball email us probably about summer last year and said, "Hey, we're doing this next year. Do you want to come?" And so they're holding as the Americans do, their own tournament, and they invited us to go. So we're going over there, and we thought we might as well make improve the time that we got over there, and we got in contact with Canada, who are they were 31st in the world, I believe, at that time when we were looking at it. And because we played Republic of Ireland, who were around that stage anyway, who were kind of at our standard, we thought we could go to Canada, and so we got in contact with them, and they would love it because not many people go to Canada to play netball. And so we're going to go to Canada as well. So we're going to Las Vegas and then Vancouver.
That's really interesting. Canada is an obvious one. Netball's part of the Commonwealth Games set up, but it's not an Olympic sport. So,
not yet.
America, is it trying to grow netball in America?
Yes, 100%, which is why we wanted to go over there and support it, and especially with our men as well.
And because primarily it's always been a women's sport, the International Olympic Committee have perhaps ignored it, but now that it's becoming mixed and for men, do you think this will open Olympic doors for the sport?
That is the aspiration. That's why there's such a push to include the men, get the mixed teams, get the participation in men up, which will then even that split up, which hopefully will allow us to get it in the Olympics.
You have to have a certain number of countries, don't you, to play for it to make an Olympic level.
And the ratio of women and men has to be right.
Yeah.
Because of your knowledge of the sport, is it growing elsewhere around the world?
Yep, so France has just started its national programme.
Sacre bleu.
So yeah, it's definitely a growing sport.
Wow, that would be. Can you imagine inter-services? Us versus the French.
I know, yeah.
Amazing.
They've got rugby, haven't they? So
Yeah. So, when you're sort of looking at pre-inter-services, do you look at some of the international opposition that you could play as an Army team?
So we're really fortunate position that people want to play us as a team. So we've got a list of contacts of people who want to play us. So the Super League pathway teams, we've got 3 or 4 that we've got booked up already. ROI want us to go to have the return fixture go to ROI. So that's hopefully that we're going to set that up this year.
That's the Republic of Ireland, in case you.
I knew that.
Figured that out. She worked that.
So yeah, we have and Scotland as well. We're hopefully going to go up to Scotland this year as well and play their pathway team.
That's incredible, isn't it? There's a lot happening.
I know. I'm just thinking of your diary. Just must be so congested.
And we're hogging it. So yes. I think this is a good point to say thank you for coming on to the Forces Sport podcast, and good luck with your hectic season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.